Heyo! Welcome into Studio B of our CHGO offices here in the West Loop of Chicago. I'm your host, Sean Anderson. Alongside me is Cody Delmendo. You can follow him at Cody_CHGO. I am Sean _W_Anderson. You can follow us at CHGO _bets. What's wrong with me today, Lawrence?
I believe it's the food you're eating.
I should have had a McDouble. I should have had a McDouble.
No, you should have chosen
any
salad. Other restaurant to go to. But that's,
a salad. Hey, that's okay. I'm on a fitness journey. I'm down 11 pounds since the beginning of the year.
I never said I was on a fitness journey or that I was weighing myself.
Oh, okay.
For my arteries' sake, I just
need to
stop eating McDoubles.
I mean, I'll say this: you open the show without even saying what show this is.
Well, I said, hey, welcome into CHGO Bets Daily.
No, I think you skipped that part.
Do you want to restart it? Can we re-rack the intro? All right. That's Lawrence Benedetto. He's our producer. We call him the Law Dog. Sometimes we bark, but I don't know. It's kind of cold.
Yeah. Wolf. No time for barking.
You're cold.
I am cold.
You lost every bet yesterday.
I lost every bet.
Congratulations. All right. Well, the only way up from here is up. Cody went 0-4. I didn't bet last night just because I wasn't feeling anything. It was a very thin NBA slate. I think there was like 3 games. I could have bet on college basketball, and I could have listened to your advice and faded Greg Braggs and the Purdue Boilermakers. Glad I didn't because they rolled.
Yeah, Indiana. I mean, I was afraid to do it, but I went with the whole narrative of Indiana only gets up against Purdue, and they did not get up against Purdue. They just stink. And I've thought that Indiana stinks this year for the entire season. So that one's on me. I'll take my lump on that. It's the last time I bet on Indiana the entire season. I promise you. The last time.
Yeah, I mean, especially Purdue, they just look dominant. I mean, there was a point where they just kept throwing the ball inside to Edey, and then you do that elbow move, and then he'd have an easy layup because he's 7'6". You know how easy it would be in life to be like 6'7" or plus? Those guys suck. If you know anyone who is 6'7" or taller, you should tell them every single day that you hate them. Wow. Just being fair. I mean, the advantages. Yeah, maybe there's growing pains. I never went through growing pains. You guys ever go through growing pains?
I mean, sure. Yeah.
Really?
I don't know.
Oh, maybe I just didn't grow. That was my thing. I had a friend, Trevor, and he told me his brother, he went through growing pains. And I was like, oh, God, I'm afraid of those. And I think my body was like, no, okay, we'll protect you. We're going to keep you at 5'7", you short man.
I mean, I grew like 6 inches in a year once.
Wow.
And I still ended up this short. So I don't know. What does that tell you?
Today we're going to be previewing the NFL divisional preview. We're going to be doing the preview of the divisional preview. We are going to be previewing the NFL Divisional Round. We got 2 games on Saturday, 2 games on Sunday. Some interesting games, maybe. The Ravens are nearly 10-point favorites. The Niners are 10-point favorites. You have the Chiefs and the Bills, which are, Patrick Mahomes' first road game. The Bills have now kind of turned it on ever since that weird Sean McDermott article came out.
Ever since they fired their defensive coordinator.
Yeah, offensive coordinator.
Or offensive coordinator,
right.
My bad.
No, you're good. That's Joe Burrow's guy, Joe Brady. But yeah, I mean, there was that article that came out and said Sean McDermott was using tactics of riling up the team by saying, remember what those Taliban hijackers did?
Oh, yeah.
And now they're 6-0. So I guess the vibes have turned around. So you also got Tampa and Detroit.
Right.
That game sucks.
Not going to touch it?
I bet the Rams last week at 3.5. Thankfully, that hit.
I didn't. I took the Lions.
Live bet the Rams at halftime. I thought at some point they would score. I thought Kyron Williams would be able to break off a run of 10-plus yards. That never happened. I kind of feel like Detroit a little fraudulent. I
don't know about that, man.
Their defense is really bad.
Yeah,
Mike
I agree.
Evans might hang like 150 on them.
Their pass defense sucks, yes. But Did you watch the game against the Rams? They were like the second half. Both teams' offenses were bad, but I think Detroit's taken a ton of momentum into this game. Like the second home playoff game for them in 30 years or whatever.
That's pressure, though.
Yes, like they're favorites now. They were favorites against the Rams too, but I think the Rams are better than the Bucs personally. The Bucs ran into an Eagles team that was just falling apart. I think Detroit. I don't know if they cover that 6.5, but I think Detroit wins on Sunday or on Saturday, whatever day they play.
Yeah, right now it's 6.5.
They run when they're able to run the ball like they can, and Tampa's run defense being one of the worst in the league. If they're able to run the ball, I think that they're going to control the clock and just, do what they do. David Montgomery, first touchdown.
Hey, it worked for me last weekend.
To stop the run, I mean, you got to have a pretty plus 650 first touchdown score.
Yeah,
nice. To stop the run, you need a pretty nasty nose tackle.
True.
Vita Vea, pretty damn good. I don't know. I think this is a no one believes in us Buccaneers team. They're going to be going into a very heated atmosphere, which I think is only going to pump up a road team. I mean, we've learned that, in the 80s, home field advantage was huge, but that's because traveling conditions were worse. These guys have been traveling for years. It's a profession. They don't care. I mean, the Bucs have that no one believes in us. They're about 7.5 point favorites, or 7.5 point dogs, or 6.5 point dogs. It might be 7 come game time on Sunday. You're looking at Sam Laporta's line. I don't think he looks healthy, and he's going to be.
He's not healthy.
Good.
Yeah.
And he's one of their best weapons. As long as they shut down St. Brown.
Yeah, but that's easier said than done.
I don't know. I think the Bucs are in a good spot.
Yeah.
Sure.
I mean, they just, like Cody said, the Eagles were a fucking train wreck for the last 7 weeks.
And the Bucs stomped them.
I was wrong about
As
the Bucs
they
having
should.
one of the worst run defenses. It's actually they have one of the worst pass defenses. They're ranked 29th in passing yards allowed. Detroit could throw the ball around. You saw what they did against the Rams, just being able to run the ball the way that they did. Now, if Tampa Bay is able to control the run game, then sure, I could see them covering that 6.5. Honestly, I'd probably take Tampa Bay if it moves up to 7, just because of the touchdown, right? Yeah. But that doesn't necessarily mean that I think that they're going to win. I think it'll be a close game for sure. But I kind of like how Detroit's playing in this game. You argue them being frauds, yeah. Well, they freaking lost to the Bears like a month and a half ago, sure. But the Bucs playing this shitty NFC South, like I don't know. I don't think we sit here and next week thinking, man, the Lions were complete frauds. Like they've had a great season. I don't think there's anything about them that's fraudulent. Now the Eagles, I think it was pretty much a lock for everyone to take the Eagles on Monday night, especially with A.J. Brown out and all the other injuries, on top of the fact that they just really shit their pants down the stretch.
Absolutely refused to tackle.
The fact that the Eagles were, 3-point favorites on the road, considering how they were playing going into the playoffs, is actually pretty like what was Vegas thinking? Like it was the easy, I thought it was a trap. I still bet it anyway because I just wasn't going to be able to live with myself if I didn't do it. And it worked out in my favor. So I just think the Lions are in a much better spot compared to the Eagles were when the Bucs played them. So, the Lions' biggest problem is their pass defense. The Bucs' biggest problem probably is their pass defense too. Who do you trust more, Jared Goff or Baker Mayfield? They're both pretty much the same quarterback.
That's fair.
I don't know.
I mean,
I don't know.
Well, I don't know if the
I think
same
it'll be
quarterback.
close.
Goff is better.
Yeah. Well,
I feel like Goff is better.
Sure, but Baker, it feels like Baker Mayfield's found a home in Tampa Bay.
Well, and to that point, too, I mean, they played in Week 6. Detroit stomped them in Tampa Bay, and that was off of Tampa's bye, and then Tampa lost 3 straight after that. And then Week 10, it felt like they kind of fell their kind of mojo and turned it on. They were 4-5 after a win against Tennessee, finished 9-8. And in that game, Baker 19 of 37 throwing, only 206 yards, airing it out. But Rachaad White's been a lot better. He only had 26 yards rushing that game. Chris Godwin was the leading wide receiver with 6 receptions, 77 yards. And Mike Evans was targeted 10 times, only caught 4 of those. I think that they're just maybe in a better spot. They're in that no one believes in us. I get the Lions' faith, but I feel like the home we saw that in the Philadelphia Phillies Diamondbacks series where home field advantage was kind of a disadvantage for the Phillies because they were kind of grooving, and then they went to Philadelphia, and then it just kind of felt like being in Philadelphia was a little bit too much for the home team. That atmosphere came a little bit too toxic because they started to fall behind the Diamondbacks, and then Diamondbacks just kept stealing base after base after base after base. If Tampa gets out to an early lead, I think.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, sure.
I think we can both agree on the fact that we'll probably both take the Bucks here. Again, I'm not going to touch it unless it's at 7. It might have been at 7 and it just came down, and I didn't get it. But yeah, I lean taking Tampa Bay to cover. Like, I'll take the points with Tampa Bay before I think, because I don't think that Tampa Bay's going to lose by more than the touchdown.
I will say this. Adam Hogue said this on the Bears show earlier, and I tend to agree a little bit. He said that the Bucks played their best game on Monday, and there's going to be a bit of a letdown.
Yeah.
Is that a 7-point letdown? I don't know.
Well, I think you can argue the quote-unquote narrative of the letdown for both teams, right? Like Detroit coming off the biggest playoff
First
win
ever,
in literally my entire life, and I've been alive for 32 years, and the Bucks winning as a home underdog against a team that was in the Super Bowl last year. I think both teams could go. You could theoretically say or argue the letdown with both teams. So, I just think Detroit's better. Personally, so if I were to do like a moneyline parlay, I'd go Lions moneyline. But as far as the spread, I lean Tampa Bay.
Hey, now sounds like a teaser too.
Now, I have Sam Laporte on my phone pulled up because I mentioned this to Lawrence the other day. It's a Sunday afternoon game, and I believe that's Fox.
Is it? Do we know this?
I believe that it's Fox. If it's Sunday afternoon, it's either Fox or CBS, and I want to say that it's Fox. Please confirm this, or else my narrative that I'm going to use will be a complete failure. But either way,
it is NBC.
It's NBC.
The Sam Laporta Lions, Bucks, NBC.
Damn it, never mind. Either way, he scored 2 touchdowns against the Bucks in their first game, and Tampa Bay ranked 17th in touchdowns allowed to tight ends.
What does this have to do with the TV?
Well, if Greg Olson's calling the game,
we can get to that. That's
if Greg Olson is
49ers.
calling the game, a tight end always scores.
We talked about this the other day.
Yes.
George Kittle, 49ers and Pack.
Okay, 49ers and Packers. Well, that's a good transition. George Kittle, hammer George Kittle about anything against Green Bay, even though Green Bay's pass defense is pretty good. But Greg Olson is calling the game, and there has been a trend of tight ends having success when Greg Olson is calling the game, bro. I'm all over it. Jake Ferguson, the Packers and Cowboys. Yeah, the Cowboys got killed, but Jake Ferguson scored like 3 times. Yep. All right. Give me George Kittle touchdown, receiving yards, receptions against Green Bay on Saturday.
For him to score best odds plus 145. Who's the Packers tight end?
Kraft. Tucker Kraft.
And
Musgrave?
Musgrave.
Oh, yeah, and Luka Musgrave.
Who is healthy again.
Yeah.
Plus 550 for Musgrave.
Yeah. But
I mean, Kraft is
Packers,
plus 500. As a degenerate, 5-1 sounds a lot better than,
that's fair.
1.5 to 1.
Now, as far as the game,
this thing has to run out. I mean, the whole Packers thing, I bet on Justin's rushing yards over in Week 18 because I just thought this Packers defense wasn't anything. You heard so
their
much
run
about
defense is bad.
Right. You heard so much about Joel Barry. He's going to get fired. Doesn't matter. I heard so much about this bad defense. Bears couldn't take advantage of that. The Cowboys still hung 32 on them. If you take away the Jay Alexander return pick 6, I get it. That's an 8-point game. So, I mean, you hear so much about Shanahan. You hear so much about McVay because they are offensive geniuses. You are putting up a bad defense against an offensive genius. The 49ers defense is nothing that's, anything to scoff about. I think they
have a good
probably stomp the Packers. And I get that, Love is brilliant against the blitz, but I mean, I think the 49ers can just not blitz him and likely just make it tougher windows for him to throw in. I think the 49ers.
Playoff history plays into that as well. I mean, the Packers, they can't beat the 49ers in playoffs, and That has happened multiple times. Now, all those times, Aaron Rodgers was under center too. Now, Jordan Love. Now, you want to talk about the letdown narrative? Like, everyone is loving on Jordan Love, and there was no pun there. But everyone is all in on Jordan Love after the week that he had against Dallas. Personally, I think Dallas lost that game more than the Packers won. Like, the Cowboys just did not come out prepared to play this game at all. I think that we will not have that problem with the 49ers. The thing that scares me is that right now it's at like 9.5 or 10 points. I'm like begging for a lot of money to come in on the Packers. That way I can get the Niners at like 7. But I doubt that's going to happen at this point.
Right.
But it would be nice. But so like right now I lean that the Packers are going to cover this because they are playing their best football at this time of year. But the fact that it's going to be in San Francisco, the fact that personally, despite everything we've seen from the Packers, you don't really know what you're going to get, but they've been able to run the ball. And if they can run the ball against 49ers, I think they can cover that 9.5 or 10 points. But we'll see. But right now I lean Packers to cover, but I think the 49ers win.
Yeah, I also probably will just take the over as well. I think the 49ers, or at least team total for the 49ers.
McCaffrey should be able to run all over Green Bay. They should. Their run defense is bottom 5 in the NFL. The Packers' run defense is one of the worst in the NFL. McCaffrey's been an MVP candidate all season. This is when you let him go, man. Also the 49ers, you want to talk about narratives. Like, remember, last year in the NFC Championship game, they lost because they didn't have a quarterback. Purdy got hurt. Garoppolo was hurt. Trey Lance was hurt. They didn't have a guy. That's all the credit to the Eagles for winning that game. But at the same time, they have remembered that game, and I think that they have a chip on their shoulder, and they've kind of showed that all season. I think that they had a stretch there where they lost some games they should have won against the Browns, the Vikings,
no Debo.
Right? They're healthy coming into this. Sure, I could talk myself into them pounding the Packers by more than double digits. I just think that the Packers are playing their best ball right now, and they're going to give them a good shot. So it just seems like too many points for me.
Over-under is at 50 for the total for the entire game. Niners team total over 29.5 at minus 130 is your best odds.
29.5?
And then 30.5 at minus 105.
They're asking the 49ers to score 31. Is that how many times have they done that this year?
You're surprised by that?
I don't know.
They're one of the best offenses in the NFL.
I know. I just feel like it's a lot of points.
Okay, 30 in week 1, 30 in week 2, 30 in week 3, 35, 42.
They literally scored exactly
34,
30 the first 3 weeks?
Yeah, 34, 27, 31, 42, 28, 45, 27.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, if they lose the game, they don't score that many points.
Right.
But, I mean, that's the whole thing about Green Bay. They don't score a lot of points. I don't know. I like the over. I would even go to 31.5.
The over is probably the safest play out of between that and the spread.
I mean, the one thing is they're off a bye. Historically, teams that are off a bye, and they rested starters in week 18, they perform worse. And if they are going to have so much success running the ball, probably will drain the clock. All of these bets that we are making will be looking first at our friends over at Circa Sportsbook. They have tight money line splits and a low hold model, and games will strive to be a minus 110 split on the Circa Sports menu. Unlike other sportsbooks, which may use a minus 115 or minus 120 split, Circa keeps as little money as possible on larger market bets like futures and golf tournaments, especially compared to other books, and that allows them to keep those tight money line splits. If anything, if any place is going to offer a possible 7 line on that Bucs game, it's probably our friends over at Circa. They're the world's largest sports book, and you got to go download their app, and you can have the world's largest sports book at your fingertips over at circasports.com/Illinois-app to sign up today. That's circasports.com/Illinois-app to sign up today. The lovely Circa Resort and Casino is a beautiful establishment that we've been at. They got Circa Swim.
Oh.
They got the beautiful sports book as well, and the people that run that sports book also run the app. So if you have a problem, you won't have to talk to a chatbot. You'll talk directly to the team that runs the main Circa Sportsbook at Circa Resort and Casino. If you or someone you know may have a problem with gambling, call 1-800-GAMBLER, 1-800-426-2537, text GMB 833-234, or visit areyourreallywinning.com. All right, so you're tempted by the Bucs. I am too. You're not going to play Laporta because you're going to be playing Kittle,
George Kittle,
of the Fox game.
Yes.
And I'm interested in Niners team total over, but I might have talked myself out of it just because of how many times they scored 30. Exactly.
Yeah.
Because if they score 30, I'm going to be pissed.
And,
So, we'll
you
see.
know, Vegas is smart. They know
Now-
where that number should be.
Now, the last game, I mean, we have to talk about Chiefs Bills. I think the Bills finally.
Well, yeah, we could talk about the Ravens, Texans too.
Well, yeah. Well, I think what America is most excited about this weekend is this game: Patrick Mahomes versus Josh Allen. And I think the Bills finally get past Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes' first road game. I think the conditions definitely played into the Chiefs' favor against the Dolphins. I think the Dolphins would have had a better effort if it wasn't like 1 degree or whatever with all those wins. A team playing in playing from Florida, but the Bills are used to these types of conditions no matter what. Plus, it's in Buffalo. Buffalo's playing their best football since, like what you said about what McDermott said, hype his guys up on top of the fact that ever since they fired their offensive coordinator, they've been winning. And I took the Steelers to cover the 10, and they would have if they just would have been able to tackle that one dude, whatever. But it seemed like, to me, considering the Chiefs, like, I just feel like it's inconsistency. Do you think what's his name, Rice, is going to have the same type of game against the Bills? Like, I don't think so. I think the Bills are going to win this game. So give me, like, you can get a 2.5. I'll take that. Minus 2.5.
Yeah, I agree.
I'd take that if you want to be safe on the money line. Whatever, it's at minus 142. But I think the Bills win this game.
I got to share a little secret with you.
What's that?
I'm sitting on a ticket, and this is why I'm taking the Chiefs.
Okay.
Because everything that you just said, I'm in full agreement. But since the Chiefs are, a little plus money on the money line, I'm sitting on a Bills future to win the Super Bowl at 30-1. Guess who bet the Bills to win the Super Bowl before they went on that 6-game winning streak? This guy.
Credit to you.
Credit to me. Big of me to throw this out there. So I will be hedging a Bills Super Bowl future for every game until they lose. Because I would like that. I think, I have free bet payout. Those never pay out until they do. So, hey, let's go Bills. I'm with you, though. I mean, the Chiefs have been not very, just not impressive. I don't think Pacheco is really that dynamic of a running back. He's fine, but when you're worrying about Mahomes, it makes him a little bit easier to defend. I think Ed Oliver is a just true game wrecker in the middle of that Bills defense, which will make it so much tougher for Pacheco to actually, bust off any runs. And I do think that, like you said, those targets for the Chiefs are just not impressive. And I'm talking about even a Hall of Famer and Travis Kelce. Just doesn't seem like he's got that same juice that he used to. I don't know if he's aligned with his brother who's looking at retirement. Maybe Kelce just needs a reset and get healthier, but it doesn't seem like he's healthy. And this is Mahomes' first road playoff game. He is absolutely losing his first road playoff game. So I will take the Bills with you, but I'm taking the Chiefs money line because of the future.
You're hedging, yes.
It's a good hedge.
The only thing that scares me is Patrick Mahomes as an underdog is very profitable. And listen, he's hearing the noise. He's hearing he's never played a road playoff game. Andy Reid, I'd say, is a better coach than Sean McDermott. There's plenty of reasons to take the Chiefs here, but I just can't buy in on their offense, which is so crazy because they have Patrick Mahomes at quarterback. If the Chiefs win, it's because their defense, which has been one of the best in the league all season, gets a turnover. Maybe there's a pick six. Maybe, Josh Allen throws an interception. It feels like almost every game. Like maybe it's something like that. But I think the Bills are going to get through here. It's been very impressive because their road to get to the playoffs was tough. They won some very, very hard against some very, very hard opponents. And, I just think they're riding basically they've been playing playoff games since mid-season, it feels like. So I think they're prepared for this. I think they haven't beat the Chiefs in the playoffs. I think this is their time at home going up against a Chiefs team that has shown that they can be beatable. So
I'm with you.
That's what I'm right. And
I mean, Josh Allen, that
run
was just amazing. Yeah. I mean, he didn't do a single thing. He just moved his body weirdly and ran 50 yards. Mm-hmm. I mean, that was just absolutely schoolyard, lunchtime scramble. Fantastic stuff. One bet that I have in the Texans-Ravens game, I think as you put it, America's game. Rushing and receiving yards under for Devin Singletary, minus 115 at 77.5. I don't think that he's going to go over his rushing props, and I don't think that he's going to be too featured in the receiving game. So just give me 77.5 instead of the 51.5 I think his rushing yards are at. I think the Ravens just probably choke this Texans team out in a way that I can't tell if they're going to score like 34 points or like 40 points like they hung on the Dolphins and Rams and et cetera, or if this is going to be maybe just a slower game where they just try to, break down the Texans and just make Stroud be perfect against a very good defense. So I like the Ravens to stop Devin Singletary and to stop the Texans offense. I just don't know if it's going to be an over, an under. I don't know if they're going to win by 10. I don't know if they're going to just, play a very slow game. Again, they're coming off 2 byes as well, just like the 49ers, so I really don't love that narrative. I just don't like Devin Singletary, so we're going to bet against him.
The line isn't out yet, but Isaiah Likely receiving yards. Tight end.
Is Mark Andrews coming back?
I don't think so.
I thought he was
I thought he tore his ACL.
He was working out.
Takes big step in practice.
Oh, left ankle surgery. He's on injured reserve still. I don't know why I thought he tore his ACL. Anyway, Likely's been he's fit in pretty well in that role of the Mark Andrews role since he went down.
Yeah, but imagine if you have 2 Mark Andrews.
Right. So, and again, the Texans are 23rd in the NFL in passing yards allowed. Lamar likes to go to Isaiah Likely, especially in the red zone. I kind of like him to score a touchdown, but the Texans don't give up a lot of touchdowns to tight ends, so I don't know. I like the receiving prop.
Did Njoku score last week? He went over 90. I mean, his prop was like 54.5, and he had like 97 yards. Yeah. So, I mean, maybe likely reception yards. I don't know if Andrews will get cleared or not, but
yeah,
I'd probably take the over if he does.
It just hasn't been put out on the market yet, but I'm like, I would keep an eye out for it because that's something that I'll probably take. So
I like it.
Yeah.
All right. Jordo says fly the W. So we're going to fly the W. You're going to finally win a bet tonight. You got any college basketball bets? I got a show in 15 minutes. So
yes, I am taking Nebraska +3 against Rutgers, because Rutgers is bad and Nebraska is a 3-point dog on the road. They haven't played well on the road, but they're better than Rutgers. Give me Rutgers or give me Nebraska.
Plus what, 133 on
maybe on the money line too.
Sprinkle on the money line.
I don't hate it.
Yeah, plus 3 at minus 107 too. So I mean, you're even getting less than minus 110. I like that. Just Nebraska. You're gonna have any other sick, disgusting plays for the 11 p.m. games?
I'm kind of leaning Belmont +2 at home against UNI, Northern Iowa, but Belmont's leading scorer is out, so I don't know. But they are at home and they are better than Northern Iowa in my opinion. So I maybe sprinkle on that.
Come on, Sean. WCC plays on Thursdays.
My bad.
You gotta know that.
I
love betting on Santa Clara, especially when they're an underdog, man.
Let's go.
Hell
Broncos.
yeah.
I love
Let's
Cody.
go Broncos.
Cody loves Santa Clara, and I love a man who bets on Santa Clara and has strong opinions on the MVC.
Hell yeah. The Missouri Valley is underrated. Also, speaking of Missouri Valley, Valpo +7 against Evansville. Hell yeah.
All right.
Shout out Luke Stuckmeyer, Valpo alum.
Shout out to Cody Delmendo. You can follow him at Cody_CHGO. I'm Sean. You can follow me at Sean_W_Anderson. Thank you to the Law Dog, Lawrence Benedetto, for producing this show.
Thank you.
Also, UCLA, Arizona State under 131. Both teams' offenses stink. Both teams defend and throw up bricks. We're going under tonight, baby.
All right. It's going to be hey, unders are ones that you sweat for the entire game. I mean, that's at any point.
Only 3 games UCLA has played this year have gone over. Only 3. This is going under.
We'll certainly be tweeting about this. So follow at Cody_CHGO. We will talk to you tomorrow. Goodbye.
We all silly like the mayor.